October 21st is a very interesting bout as it was supposed to be Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira 2 and also Paulo Costa versus Hamza Chimaev. Both of them pulled out, and by both of them I mean both Brazilians. So now it is now Makhachev versus Volkanovski 2 and Kamaru Usman versus Hamza Chimaev. Ankalaev is still fighting Johnny Walker, which is his own thing. Which those are the three fights I'm going to be talking about. I'm not going to be talking about the whole card. I don't know half of these people. But of course, Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker has been KO'd quite a bit of times. Ankalaev, not so much. Of course, he is coming off of the controversial draw. I think it was against Jan Blachowicz. He's a very good light heavyweight. I don't think he's been active, though. Johnny Walker has been on a comeback streak after being brutally knocked out by Hill. It's not funny, but the way he got knocked out is kind of funny a little bit. This I don't know that much about, but if I were to cheer for someone, I think Ankalaev knocks out Walker. And to be honest, I don't think Walker's chin will be able to support himself. Don't get me wrong, Johnny Walker is someone who I will be cheering for, but to be honest, I think we're gonna be in for another funny KO. Not by Walker though. Unfortunately, Walker will lose by knockout. I don't know, round 2. I think that's a good indication. Of course, co-main event. Kamaru Usman, former welterweight world champion, will be taking on the also former welterweight Hamza Chimaev, because Hamza is a fat boy and missed weight last time by like 7 pounds and then had his own thing, so it's like a year of inactivity. Kamaru Usman is coming off of 2 losses, of course one brutally by Leon Edwards in their rematch, and the third one being against Leon Edwards in their trilogy. He was unable to collect his belt, being pretty much dominated in the fight. And of course, people are always talking about Kamaru Usman's bad knees, but now I think it's way more apparent that Kamaru Usman's knees are not his friends right now. And the thing is, this fight is happening in middleweight because Hamza cannot make weight anymore because he's a fat boy. He's fat as hell. 7 pounds, bro? What were you eating, man? Straight up entire hogs? Like, what were you eating? 15 Big Macs? But whatever. This one's going to be very interesting because before he was going to be fight the big man Costa, who would walk in like 210 pounds or something fight day. So now he's fighting the much smaller Kamaru Usman, 205 pounds. Very interesting fight. And this is also last minute notice, so I don't know if Kamaru Usman is walking around like 200 pounds or something, or if he has to gain that within like a week, which is pretty bad. But I think Usman will lose decision. I think Usman, people still say he's an elite fighter. You guys aren't saying that when he fought Edwards. You're like, Edwards trash. He's going to lose. And then in the trilogy, Usman's going to win his title back. Leon Edwards ain't nothing. It was a fluke. And now everyone's like, oh, man, I think everyone needs to know how elite Leon Edwards was. Is he trash or elite? Say that. I think Usman is a good fighter. By 205, it much more favors the fat boy Hamza Chimaev. I think Hamza will not ragdoll Usman. I don't think that's possible. Even though he has bad knees, I don't think you really need the most perfect knees to defend takedowns. But I think Hamza will pull off the decision win. But Usman is always game, 205 pounds, although it's not his weight. They were talking about him versus Jan Blachowicz. I don't know if that was a joke, or people were actually thinking that Usman had a chance against Jan Blachowicz. But Usman, former champion, you can't write him off. I think he will give Hamza. I would assume, you know what? No, I changed my bet. I'm going Usman. I don't care. If Gilbert Burns could do that to Hamza Chimaev, I think Usman can do him worse. Yeah, he has bad knees, but all he needs to really do is defend takedowns and maybe protect his knees a little bit. But in all honesty, it is a reason why Usman is the underdog. Hamza will most likely win unanimous decision. I'll be rooting for Usman, though. Usman, my man. He balled, but he my man. And, hey, fingers crossed he pulls up the upset. Fingers crossed, man. And, of course, you got another last-minute replacement in the second one, and that is Makhachev versus Volkanovski 2. That's right, number 2. I think Makhachev got scared when he realized Volkanovski is the one fighting him next, but whatever. Of course, it's a very interesting fight because in the first fight, everyone thought Volkanovski won, even though it was in his home country or even hometown. But then again, I don't think the judges really go by that anymore. I think in the UFC, they go for whatever Dana wants, and I think Dana wanted Makhachev to win or whatever. Of course, last-minute replacement, people are like, oh, Volkanovski only has a week to train, which could be true, but considering a lot of elite fighters still train, although maybe not training for a fight, they still keep themselves relatively in shape for, whatever, right? Maybe they just love it that much. They just do it. Difference is, who is it gonna affect the worst, Makhachev or Volkanovski? Like I said, they said Volkanovski will most likely not even have a week's worth of camp because I don't think he really wants to be that sore in the fight, right? So maybe he'll have like 6-7 days of training, which a lot of people do say. But Makhachev was spending an entire fight camp, grueling training, I would assume, and even I think Khabib was in the training, I think a little bit for the Oliveira rematch, but it was against Charles Oliveira, which is a completely different fighter than Volkanovski. And considering how bad Volkanovski beat Makhachev, although it was a close fight, but people still thought Volkanovski won, I think the fact that he's training for one specific guy the entire time, even if he were to think that Oliveira was not that good and he would just do it again and he didn't take training too seriously, he's gonna be 100% set on Oliveira. So when Volkanovski, an entire dude that nearly beat him, comes out within a week, Makhachev, although he was training in training camp, he also only has a week and a half to fully train for Volkanovski. So both will be last minute notice. It depends. Who do you favor? Makhachev's in actually being in camp, but having only a couple days, like 6 days or something, to train for Volkanovski, or Volkanovski a little bit more laid back training, but maybe he also was already training for Makhachev, because considering he was already looking to rematch Makhachev, although not now, and especially in that location, he even said that. He was already obviously going to be looking at the Makhachev versus Oliveira rematch, even if it wasn't for his YouTube channel, right? Because that's his opponent, that's who he wants next. Or even after Ilya Topuria, right? So for all we know, Volkanovski has already been studying Makhachev for this Oliveira rematch. A lot of people do that. They'll be like, oh, this guy's one of my opponents. Although maybe I won't fight him next, I'll definitely fight him eventually. So maybe he was not training for him, but obviously studying him. Or at least was going to study him. So obviously Makhachev was in his mind, although that definitely does not help that much. Who am I going to root for? Volkanovski. To be honest, I'm going to go for Volkanovski. The bald guys have to stick together. But if anyone's going to win, it's going to be Volkanovski. Makhachev hasn't fought in a long time. His last fight was literally against Volkanovski. Volkanovski's last fight was against Yair Rodriguez. But it was against him. So Volkanovski is not only fresher, but maybe he has a little bit more of an advantage. Because Makhachev was definitely not thinking about Volkanovski during the fight camp. 100%. I got Volkanovski. I think Volkanovski does it. I think he becomes a 2-time world champion, double champ status, and becomes one of the top 3 best UFC fighters of all time. To be honest, his career, I think, might be better than John Jones. He's lost before, but that was against, middleweights and stuff? I don't know. I heard he fought like a middleweight one time for some reason, or welterweight. Dude's a beast, man. Volkanovski's just the man, right? But, of course, that's it. I got Volkanovski winning, Khamzat winning, and Ankalaev winning. But I will be cheering for Walker, Usman, and also Volkanovski. Usman has everything he needs to win against Khamzat Chimaev, although Khamzat has also been inactive in his fights. The last time he fought was against Kevin Holland when he missed weight by 7 pounds. But Usman is coming off of 2 losses, one of them being pretty badly. Actually, both of them were pretty bad, except one was way worse. Johnny Walker has always somewhat been a chinny boy. Ankalaev has not, although I think he was the one that was getting ravaged by leg kicks. So, hey, Johnny Walker, you never know. Especially with Johnny Walker, you never know. Dude celebrated and broke his shoulder, so whatever. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. This is a one-off MMA bout. Why? Because why not? Let's get into MMA. The green corner, let's go. But like I said, the next video will be, I don't know, whatever. Fury versus Ngannou. How could I forget? But anyways, like I said, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.